If you're listening to this, you're probably curious about one of the most discussed mental health topics today, narcissism. You might be wondering if someone in your life, your partner, a family member, a colleague, or even yourself, is showing signs of it. Or perhaps you've seen videos and online posts throwing around the term narcissist so freely that you're struggling to separate fact from exaggeration. Today, I'll dive deep into this topic to clear up the confusion. I'll explain the difference between normal narcissism, which I call healthy self-interest, pathological narcissism, the everyday narcissist, and full-blown narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. This isn't just surface-level info. I'll back it up with definitions, research, examples, and practical tools to help you understand better. Let's start with the basics. What is narcissism, really? Let's go back to the roots, as many educational videos on this topic do. The word narcissism comes from the Greek myth of Narcissus, who fell in love with his own reflection. In modern dictionaries, like the Cambridge Dictionary, it's defined as having too much interest in and admiration for oneself. Merriam-Webster calls it extreme self-centeredness with an exaggerated sense of self-importance. But the key is that not all self-focus is bad. In fact, a bit of self-focus is necessary to survive and thrive. There's a lot of debate about healthy versus pathological narcissism. Some experts argue that healthy narcissism is a misnomer because the term itself implies excess. Instead, think of it as healthy self-interest. We all need to prioritize ourselves sometimes, to set goals, build careers, care for our needs, and feel confident.
Without that, we'd become doormats. But when it crosses into pathology, it becomes harmful to ourselves and others. Picture a spectrum. At one end is healthy self-interest. In the middle is insecurity or low self-esteem that can mimic narcissism, and at the other end is pathological narcissism or NPD. It's not a smooth line. There are big leaps where empathy breaks down and manipulation takes over. The spectrum of self-interest. Visualize it. Imagine an arrow from left to right. On the left, healthy self-interest. This is where most of us live most of the time. You have a realistic view of your strengths and weaknesses. You're confident enough to pursue your dreams, but balance that with empathy for others. For example, a healthy person might celebrate a promotion by sharing it with friends, feeling proud but also grateful for their support.
Kids often show this naturally. They're self-focused because they're developing. A child saying, "Look at me, I'm the best," is developmentally appropriate, not a problem. As adults, this evolves into balanced confidence. You go to a job interview knowing you're qualified, but don't trample others to get there. In the middle of the spectrum, insecurity and low self-esteem. This is where things get tricky. People here might seem very self-focused, but it's painful. They ruminate. Why did I say that? Do they hate me? Am I good enough? This me loop is exhausting and can lead to constantly seeking reassurance. They might fish for compliments or get defensive about criticism, but it's not arrogance, it's fear. This middle zone doesn't make you a narcissist. In fact, insecure people are often more empathic because they're hyper-attuned to emotions, their own and others. But they can attract true narcissists who exploit that vulnerability. Now the far right, pathological narcissism and NPD. This is where self-interest becomes all-consuming. Empathy is diminished, relationships are tools to feed self-esteem, and manipulation is the norm. There's a big line here. You don't slide from insecurity to NPD, it's a distinct pattern. Even within NPD, there's a spectrum of severity. Some people have mild symptoms they manage, others are extreme, causing chaos in every relationship. Key differences: normal versus pathological narcissism. So how do you tell them apart? Let's break it down with key traits. Empathy, present versus diminished. In normal people, even with some narcissistic traits, empathy is present. You feel others' emotions, care about them, and adjust your behavior. Sure, on a bad day, empathy might dip. Maybe you're stressed and snap at someone.
But you'll regret it and make amends. In pathological narcissism, or NPD, empathy is fundamentally lacking or used manipulatively. A narcissist might recognize your pain but exploit it, like, "I see you're upset, now do what I want." They don't truly care unless it benefits them. Research shows narcissists can turn on empathy when motivated, but it's not genuine. Reciprocity in relationships, balanced versus one-sided. Healthy people have give and take. You support your partner, they support you. It's not always 50-50, but there's mutual recognition of needs. Narcissists use relationships to feed their ego. They need admiration like oxygen. If your needs conflict with theirs, they dismiss or belittle you. Over time, this erodes the other person's self-esteem. Owning mistakes, accountable versus avoidant. Normal people mostly take responsibility.
They apologize, change behavior, or at least try. Narcissists rarely do unless it boosts their image, like a public apology for praise. Blame shifting is common. You made me act this way. Manipulation, occasional versus constant. Everyone manipulates a little sometimes, like flattering a boss for a favor, but it's not a lifestyle. Narcissists navigate life through manipulation. Gaslighting to make you doubt reality, love bombing to reel you in, or pitting people against each other. It's all calculated to maintain control. DSM-5 criteria for NPD, the clinical lens. For an official diagnosis, we look to the DSM-5, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition. NPD is a pervasive pattern beginning in early adulthood, with at least 5 of these 9 criteria. Grandiose sense of self-importance, exaggerating achievements, expecting to be recognized as superior. Preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Belief they're special and should only associate with other special people. Need for excessive admiration. Sense of entitlement, expecting special treatment or compliance. Interpersonally exploitative, taking advantage of others. Lack of empathy, unwilling to recognize or identify with others' feelings. Often envious of others or believing others are envious of them. Arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitudes. NPD affects about 1% of the population, more men than women, but many cases go undiagnosed because narcissists rarely seek help. They don't think they have a problem. Examples: normal versus pathological. Normal narcissistic behavior, bragging about a high school trophy to a new date. It's sharing pride, not demanding worship. Pathological. A boss taking credit for your work, then gaslighting you when confronted. You didn't do anything, I fixed it all. Insecurity mimicking narcissism. Someone overly sensitive to criticism, ruminating on it. They might seem narcissistic but care deeply about others. True NPD. Dismissing your feelings entirely, redirecting the conversation to themselves. Distinguishing insecurity from narcissism. This is crucial because they can look similar. Insecure people seek validation out of fear. Narcissists demand it out of entitlement. Insecurity often stems from past criticism or trauma, leading to painful but empathic self-focus. Narcissism masks insecurity with grandiosity. Research shows many narcissists are deeply insecure, using arrogance as a shield. The key test: can they empathize and change? Insecure people can, narcissists rarely do. Why this matters. Impact on relationships and life. People with NPD often come to therapy indirectly through partners or family affected by them. Over 50% of therapy clients deal with loved ones with personality disorders. They violate boundaries, create chaos, and make others question reality. If you're in such a relationship, focus on boundaries. Internal boundaries protect your self-esteem. External ones limit contact. Boundary courses can help spot red flags early. Narcissism isn't black and white. Most of us have some traits, few have NPD. If you're worried, ask yourself, do you empathize? Do you take responsibility? If so, you're probably fine. For more, follow for deeper dives in the future. Thanks for listening. Let's build healthier connections together.